approximately 4 hours, it is understood 27 Just Stop Oil prosecutors brought the City of London to a standstill during rush hour by being able to glue themselves to roads around the Mansion House area. City of London police, I stress because it's not the Met on this occasion, City of London police stand accused of not doing more, not working far more quickly to try and get the roads moving again. Well, the story was covered by LBC reporter Charlotte Lynch. She's back there now and tells us the story of yesterday and the aftermath this morning. Charlotte.
Nick, the protesters blocked this busy four-way junction at 9 o'clock yesterday morning. They walked into the roads at Mansion House, close to the Bank of England, as commuters were heading to work, using glue to stick themselves to the tarmac and even metal tubes to bolt themselves together. Now, I counted at least 45 officers on the scene. They were here quickly, but they almost just ended up standing guard as the protesters talked about their reason for bringing traffic to a halt for a 27th straight day.
Not doing anything wasn't an option for me anymore, so I've decided to join in direct action. We want an immediate end to new oil and gas licences that is basically destroying the planet. Stop making an enemy of my future and of my child's future, to listen to the science that's been established for decades, and to do their job, which is to look after the members of our society.
Well, that's their message to the government. At around 11:30, this was 2.5 hours later, the demonstrators boasted that officers had retreated. There was this lull, almost a stalemate between them, as lines of officers were just standing in front of the demonstrators, and some did leave. Traffic was being redirected around the many surrounding routes, so it didn't seem to cause too much disruption. But this is a part of London with lots of shops and cafes, and these local business owners told me what they made of the demonstration.
Well, the police just behaved nicely to them, and they left the protesters there as well. I don't understand why they did that, but I'm sure they have the right to do the protest.
So the police just left?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
were you surprised at that?
Yeah, everything went nicely, you know.
The police came and talked to them a few times, and it took a while for them to remove them.
They want climate change, but by what they're doing, blocking the roads, it's causing more pollution than it is just letting people drive normally. So,
and it took police 4 hours to move them from these roads yesterday.
Yeah, the lads I work with, they do Victoria, and they've had it quite bad over there.
Well, eventually 27 people were arrested. The road was cleared by 1:30 in the afternoon, more than 4 hours after they first went into the road. But as I say, for this to cross a line from being a lawful protest to a criminal offence, it has to cause serious disruption. It didn't look to me like it did that, Nick.
Charlotte Lynch reporting. We'll get the legal aspect in this in a moment from leading barrister Russell Fort, but I'm pleased to say someone has come forward from Just Stop Oil to come on the show and discuss this. Lora Johnson is a spokesperson for Just Stop Oil and is with me now. Thank you for coming on. Might I ask, were you at the protest yesterday?
I wasn't, Nick. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you. Can I ask what protests you have taken part in?
I was on the 2nd of October. I had an arrest on Waterloo Bridge where I said I was doing this for my son. And New Scotland Yard, I sprayed that with orange paint. And, yeah.
You sprayed, right. And then, of course, you leave or you're arrested. You don't have to clear up the paint, do you?
No, but who's going to clear up the mess that's being left behind by government inaction on climate change?
Do you support pouring milk on the floor of major stores and supermarkets?
I support the actions of Animal Rebellion, yes.
Why are you and other protesters allowed to cause this level of disruption and indeed inconvenience, and in some instances people then have to come along, clear up and indeed throw away food that has been spoilt by having milk poured over it at a time when a lot of people are relying on food banks? How does that help your cause?
The fact that we are relying on food banks shows how little the government has been caring about it.
I wonder if you just addressed my first point, though. How does that help your cause by ruining food, spoiling food by pouring milk on it?
Well, we've reached a point where it's no longer the time for words, it's a time for action. The government has sat on scientific evidence for 70 years that said that this was going to be happening, and we're already seeing those effects. We had 40-degree heat, we've had 60 people losing their homes. Now we're demanding that the government don't licence any new fossil licensing, and we're going to be here until they say yes to that.
One woman in Kent is believed to have lost her life because of the protest at the Dartford Tunnel. The ambulance that got her couldn't get her to a hospital in Dartford quick enough. Not you personally, but this organisation has blood on its hands. How do you feel about that?
Well, that's dreadful. My heart goes out to the family of that lady. I believe that the ambulance service made it very clear that we haven't delayed any ambulances.
Well, I could assure you that's not the case with the Kent Ambulance Service, and if you want to talk about the London Fire Brigade, we've got statements from them that although your colleagues do move, it takes them minutes to move, and that delays the fire truck. And in other instances, they've had to take longer journeys because their sat-nav has said that road is blocked. You're playing with people's lives, so I ask again, what gives you the right?
I'm just a mother. I'm here standing up for the future of my son. Did you know that 100,000 people die every year in the UK because of air pollution? That's 11 people an hour. What about the families of those 11 people an hour?
How is that helped by possibly people not being rescued from a fire in central London? How is that? Let me ask you this. If it was your son, and clearly you're very devoted to him, if your son was in that building and your colleagues didn't let the fire truck through, or an ambulance with your son in the back, would you accept that?
Look, obviously, as a mother, I wouldn't. But can I ask you a very important question, Nick?
Can I just? Yes, you can. And I'm pleased that Nive would feel the same. So you, as a mum, say no, you couldn't accept that. Why should other mothers accept that?
Well, luckily, we haven't had that situation, and I pray to God.
Oh, so it's luck. Okay, so it's just luck. Anyway, you did want to ask me a question. Go ahead. Yeah, please.
So, what we get all the time is everyone wants to talk about our tactics and our methods. And we hear that people like the message. So why are we not talking about the message? Why are we not talking about 11 people an hour that are dying in the UK?
Because people broadly, not everybody, people broadly are mixture of disgust and appalled at most of your tactics. For instance, smearing the face of a waxwork of King Charles, someone who was on to the issues of the environment, respectfully, before you were even born, I suggest. Why would you want to spoil his waxwork model? What does that achieve? Throwing mashed potato, I'm so sorry, that wasn't in this country, I apologise. Throwing soup over a priceless painting. People are appalled by this. That's why they're not talking about your message, because they're appalled by your tactics.
Oh, but we are getting our message out there. And
But you just said you weren't.
Phoebe said very great words. What is worth more, art or life? And let's face it, it was some glass that had some soup thrown at it. And I think the King Charles one was very clever because they actually used his words. They used the Queen's words, saying the time for words is over. Now is the time for action. That our late Queen used.
Might I ask the age of your son? You don't have to answer this.
He's nearly 7.
He's nearly 7. Are you prepared to go to jail and leave your son with your partner, your husband, whoever it might be, your wife? I've no idea. Are you prepared to go?
I'm a single mum, so I'm going to try very hard not to. But the time for standing by and watching my son's future be stolen from him has gone. So you can join in civil resistance against the corrupt government without getting arrested.
But I'm putting it to you that many of my listeners will support the idea, and I don't mean this personally, but people such as yourself actually do go to jail, effectively straight to jail. Would you be prepared to do that and leave your son with your mother, your relatives, your whatever it might be?
I would find that personally heartbreaking, as would my son. But it would be something I would be willing to do because I want him to have. Finally,
lastly, and I'm very grateful you've come on the phone. Oh, actually, we're speaking over video link. Can I put it to you? If you're prepared to go behind bars and leave a young man without his mother for a period of months or whatever, Lora, this has become a cult now, not a cause, because you're putting it above the interests of your own boy. You're a very bright woman, and I don't say you've been brainwashed because you're too smart, but some of your colleagues are brainwashed. This is cultish behaviour. Lora.
Well, I would ask you, what cult in the history of cults are backed by the world's independent scientists? We've got the UN report. Have you read the latest
your
UN
message?
report?
I agree with your message. This summer was brutal. It's extraordinary that people were going around in polo shirts yesterday. We're virtually into November. When I'm much older than you, I've never known it like this. It's extraordinary. I'm with you. But why the hell would you want your son to be on his own? I know he wouldn't be on his own while you're in jail. That's why I'm saying to you again, it is a cult.
I absolutely don't want that to happen. I really hope that doesn't happen. I have done things that are illegal, and I won't be doing that anymore, but I will be protesting. I will be joining in civil resistance.
Why will you not commit illegal acts anymore, Laura, if I might ask that?
Because I don't want to risk being remanded in prison. So I don't want to. If it happens, it happens, but I won't be doing anything illegal for that to happen. But I will be joining in civil resistance against the government. And also, Nick, if you're saying
no one's called me that since my mother. That took me back a few years. I can't. Whoa, that was and that was when I was naughty. By the way, I used to get called Nick. Anyway, Laura, on you go.
Okay, can I just say, Nick, that we're going to be in Westminster every day from 11, and we hope that people will see what we're doing, and we start.
Do you mean blocking the road, Laura? Do you mean blocking the road?
If more people join us, we won't need to block the road. So if people agree with the message, then I urge them, join us, and we won't need those methods anymore. Okay. Will you give my best wishes to your son? Thank you for coming on. I don't agree with the thing that you're doing, but I've enjoyed our time together. Laura Johnson is spokesperson for Just Stop Oil. I do hope the lawyer can... demoted Barrister Russell Falk, because there's so many legal aspects of this to talk about, but we must get to those news headlines now. It is...